telo. Onle. Onle in kanyo. Onle. Oso tim ni gicha. Kejano ka.
Dike iwinja?
Mute. Kora winji. Ni mute koso.
Gik moko kwamo ka. Pod gini.
Anyuola chako kodi chon.
Ochako chon wakel the Luo Girl nikech kata mana kaka ome ma pod otama. But koro ni wang'e koro gine wang'e. Yeah. Anyuola ok dwa nuwuo kuom nyiri. Gidwaro ni kik ung'isgi kaka girit nyithindo manyiri. Nyono nwa pi.
On baby what heck?
Yeah. Gwere to dhi. Gigwe watu agwegi to adhi. Iwacho ni gwere to dhi. Ng'e ni ka the Luo Girl nyalo biro. To inade jike?
Antie telo. Kauna mahoma dwarengo koda.
Oli chan mara. An mara ogine. Wa ket ma ka kelo the Luo Girl, keto the Luo Girl line.
Anaber.
Yeah.
Anaber.
Piny orwenyo. Wamolu. Wan kapani wuod kokelo jasolo. Kikinye alawadu. Mari to. Mari ng'ama nyiero. Yo wendere. Ibiro yie. Ajose wuod gi Phoebe kaora. Jakwaya nitie. Kata sama nade.
JJ, mic test. Engineers test mic. JJ, JK adwa winji. JK winja.
Awinji.
Haya, engineers arito umia thumbs up kama non kare. The Luo Girl.
Antie.
Haya, koro anon kare. Wasedhi, sa wasedhi. To aparo narwak jogi mondi. Ka itarwaku. Jogo man ka duto mayuoro. The Luo Girl, 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 part 5. Ang'eyo ni kaka wuon en chieng'i mokwongo tiwuoro ni to ang'o matimre ga e Luo Girl, e Luo Girl. Isedonje duol, koro ibiro fwenya mos gi in. But jowa man ga ka, culture champions, ung'eyo un, we are building a family, ok wawe jomoko chien. Wadhi wate. The village must be complete. Nyithindo ma yowuoyi ok we chien, nyithindo ma nyiri ok we chien. Ji dhi te. Nikech kitego nyithindo ma nyiri, tiweyo nyithindo ma yowuoyi, to onge gimitimo. Kitego nyithindo ma yowuoyi, tiweyo nyithindo ma nyiri, to onge gimitimo. You are imbalanced. Samiketo gigi e scale, to nyaka machielo duok machielo piny. Mano ok society. Society wadwaro ma balanced. Emomiyo watimo The Luo Girl. Emomiyo watimo Lwanda Magere. Lwanda Magere en ng'ama dichuo. Tok nonyuole dichuo, nonyuole nyathi ma wuoyi. To koro kwa oke Lwanda Magere to wadhi e moko bende. Wadhi nyaka e jogo nyoro joma nyoni kanyo winjo sigana mamit sana. But okomit ni timbe mantiere beyo te. Omit nikech puonj mopuonjo. Kawuono wan e Luo Girl. Arwako uduto te. Mokwongo erokamano JK Ramoth kuom kawo ga thuolo mari all the time. Mano otama wacho matiek. Nikech ok en gima yot. Ok oyot. Godiechieng' waringo koni gi koni gi gik ma watimo pile ka pile. Mano to nyaka watim. To ka wasetieko to nikech wang'eyo ni jowa dwa winjowa, wang'eyo ni jowa dwaro nigi paro mopogore opogore, mamoko gin be gioronwa ga to watimo. In fact onego ging'e ni programs moko bende wa plan kalure kod pachgi magi oro. Ok wag bet piny to wacho ni jogi paro kama to watimo kama. Koro atimo kamano. The Luo Girls neno wakou. Kariburu. Koro adwa ni kapok arwako Ramoth officially, nikech kawuono to koro wasomo gi kizungu, wan gi welo bende, wan gi jogo mohero gandawa. Ng'ato nyocha wacho na GK en jalibamba, ing'e gima libamba en? Ing'e libamba. Nyocha wacho na ni openja ni to Luo village no ochuno ni mana ng'at manonyuol ka wacho dholuo ema nyaka donje. Nanyise ni mano penjo ma nyaka penji jodongo, ok dadwoko. Penjo nocho penja Monday. En jalibamba. Penja ni Luo village mugero ni, nikech aseneno kusechako keto foundation. Soon gine bro bete wall to kogo mabat moket dhoudi to kwa bidonjo. Bende wan gi mar donjo. Nanyise ni mano jodonge ma bro dwoko kanya. Wan ohinga by far kanya. Luo Girl mosura ne jogi kae to warwak Ramoth. Mosuru jogi urwakgi nikech gin wendu. Ma en maru unie The Luo Girls mwawuoyo kuome kato kendo unie musomo The Luo Girl. Kariburu, mosnauru welogi kae to urwakgi kae to arwak Ramoth. Eruru kamano. In any order. The Luo Girl mane. Okay, one, The Luo Girl, then The Luo Girl 2. Yeah, think a man.
Oimore uru. En thuolo maber mwakawo mar rwako somo ma kawuono. Akowe mang'eny. Mar rwako e somo ma kawuono. Aneno ka pod walawore ga nyuola matin lakini adhi bedo stable. Ageno ni waduto wariyo maber ma dhois machiegni uru.
Erokamano winji maler. Luo Girl 2. Be iwinjowa? Luo Girl 2. In muted. Kopo ni wuoyo in muted.
Mos oro. Duoko erokamano kuom miya thuoloni. Ka moso ji duto mosechopo e studio wa ma kawuono mar winjo duond Luo Girl. Waduoko erokamano, warwakou duto, ubed machiegni ka wadhi somo kendo kaka wadhi winjo Luo Girl kaka ne dongo nyaka kuma ang' wachope kendo kawuono. En ng'uono gi ago erokamano. Ero kamano.
Erokamano ahinya The Luo Girls nikech un be ne ukawo thuolo ma wacho ni donge nyocha wacho ni duol midonjo ni Luo village migero ni igere ne ji te. Wan ok wewa chien. Wan ka. To wan The Luo Girls. Ma uting'o badu mwacho wan The Luo Girls. Kendo warwakou kendo wamiu luor ahinya nikech ukawo thuolo mar somo bugni to kendo kata mana inputs magu be wawinjoga kaka upare kendo ulink up gi kaka udongo sani, ulink up gi ngima ma bende ulead, uchiwo examples, gik ma dau onyisou, gik ma kaka udak gi wegeu osebet ka ungekonwa ka kidogo to kendo miyo aspect ma wakawo pogre to kendo medo chwale mbele. Koro mane e morwa nikech you are the link. Usome but usomo book manondik 1949. Kendo gik mane timrego samoro aneno ga ka usomo to usomo gimoro to ubuok wacho ni nikech kung'iyo kupimo gima notimre 1949 gima otimre sani to uneno ka nitiere pogruok matin. But malich ahinya mantiere en ni perspective manondik go bugno nondike then to ng'ama nondike no be nondike ka en bende nobedo guided gi other forces. Emomiyo wan kire wakawo thuolo mar goyo ne Ramoth erokamano nikech oketega into perspective masani to kata mana machon no nitie kaka waketo wi Professor Minde e ratil mondo wang'e ni to en be sama nondike ni gima nondiko ni nondiko gima en kare koso nondiko nikech en be ne koro en ni scholarship jogi ema miye scholarship makerere koro nyaka wach gik ma jogi dwa winjo. Koro mano ema wakete scale, ok wapinge, but wapime kata gi ngima masani to kod kaka osebet ka owuotho nikech opinion is allowed, and opinion is allowed to be put under weight mondo ne to which opinion carries more weight. Opinion is not a truth. The truth go opinion opogore. However loud an opinion is, it can never be the truth. Koro mano ema watimo. Otherwise, GK akawo thuolo ni mar waki kendo. Kendo erokamano ahinya. Ing'e ni samoro afeel ga ni nikech an personally ang'eyo some of your movements. Koro ka in e safari kaka ang'e ni in e safari moro kawuono to it's late to en ang'o tawacho ni be ang' to ang' nonyal tapo mana ka igo sim to representatives wacho ni no, the program is on. Kae to ago mana erokamano. Koro erokamano ahinya kuom kawo thuolo ni no. But kik waketh sa, sa osechopo chiegni gi nus koro. Aduoko nigo GK rwak jogi to wiya kik wil kata matin. Gigo ni Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Research and Luo Heritage Research and Education kuom miyowa thuolo makende. Nikech ka ok gin to ok wanyal wuoyo gi jowa. To ka jowa bende onge to gibende ok ginyal kawo thuolo gi mar miwa thuolo ni mar loso programs gi. Koro erokamano ahinya maduong' ne jodongo go, ne organizers, ne jogo du management committees mantiere kanyo kuom tich matek magitiyo. Wagoyo ni erokamano sama wagero the Luo village back. Erokamano. GK arwaki, karibu mos jogi, rwak jogi.
Erokamano. Ochopo sa mawaromo kendo kaka nyikwa Ramogi. Orwakou kendo orwakou gi chuny moyawore ahinya. Kaka wacho ga Luo e ohalawa, Luo is our business. Luo is our business. Luo is our business. And we are open for business 247, 365. Ohalo yao, otieno, odiechieng', okinyi, wayao dhoudi. Wakawo all form of value, all. Moko wakawo en mana spiritual money. Mane moko wakawo. Erokamano kendo nun ka. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate. Because you could have been anywhere in the world doing anything else. But you're here. We really appreciate your presence for being here. And we never take it for granted. Erokamano Huda for opportunity kendo ma hostwa. To kaka niwacho ne wan gi safari lakini Luo biro ga first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth na 10th. Eka gik moko bire. So en gima wahero zaidi. To nyaka wamiye nafas. Erokamano. Waduok nigo mondo kori launch gini officially wadhi kode.
Thank you very much, Ramoth. GK, our philosopher, thank you for always taking your time. To our guests who are with us today, it's another opportunity that we're going to go through the book, The Luo Girl, written in 1949. That is many years ago. The concept was around a Luo girl growing up in those years before independence, and possibly immediately after independence. We know things have changed. We know some of our girls, when you talk about 1949, they're wondering, what are you talking about? But that's not the Luo essence, the essence of Luo, the consciousness of Luo. Doesn't have scattered thoughts about bringing up people and coining together a community. There is no two ways. It's like telling God or the people who wrote the Bible to write a new Bible for the current generation. It can't happen. The Bible, as Christians and the people who believe in it, believe it was written like that. And I don't think somebody will again sit down and say, now we are changing, we are writing for it for this generation. The same with the Luo culture. It can never be changed because a generation wants it to be changed to fit their current situation. It remains constant. It doesn't follow people. It doesn't run after anyone. People go back to it. And so I always have a joke that people have been playing too much with the deity, whoever God they believe in. Every one of us have got, you believe in a God, there is Allah, there is whoever. But we've been playing along with them so much because sometimes we even want to take their positions. And then one day they wake up and say, let's see who is the boss here. And COVID comes, poop. Whether it's real, whether it's not real, whether it's perceived, but the world was closed. You could never move from one point to the other. But one thing moved constantly: the air that we breathe. It never stopped because you don't know the source. Human beings can go to moon and back. You don't know the source of that, where it comes from. Luo nation, the Luo consciously believes it comes from a place where the source of their life is. You can't control it. Nobody can control it. The Luo girl, are you ready?
I am.
You know where to start, right? I don't need to tell you this thing because that is your trait. I may
I
not
do.
even know. You know better. Thank you. Ramoth, should I let Luo girl start us off? Or GK?
Wadia dia. Wadia.
Aye. Luo girl, pap chake pap mari chak mari.
We stopped at aspects of marriage. So under aspects of marriage, there is dowry. The payment of a dowry takes place when the suitor of a young woman has formally presented himself to her parents and obtained their consent. Having agreed to marry him, the woman arranges the interview with the parents. The news of his coming is generally communicated to the father through the mother. In certain matters relating to her sexual life, the girl might confide in her mother, with whom she naturally feels very much at home. The traditional marriage. The traditional marriage, which has undergone considerable modification in many aspects, is characterized by a number of ceremonies. The ceremonies which follow take place after the meko or catching of a term or a catching, a term applied to the act of seizing a girl and dragging her to her husband's home. This catching is arranged by the husband and his relatives. Normally, the girl is aware of it long before it takes place. The time when it will occur can be estimated by considering the number of cattle paid, in between 7 and 8, according to my own experience. That's Ominde. After this time arrives, the girl must restrict her movements lest she tempts her suitor to catch her. Having decided to catch her, he tries by several methods to get her out of the reach of her brothers, who would normally put up a strong fight before allowing their sister to go. If the bridegroom's friends fail to lure her away from her home, they attempt to catch her in their home. But this can be done only where there is no strong force of young men to match the raiders. In such an event, arrangements would be secretly made with the woman in whose heart the girl sleeps, and a small payment having been made to her, the bride is seized in the dark. Sometimes the father gives permission for his daughter to be seized, but even when the father has agreed to let his daughter go, the younger relations put up a fight, not in order to detain the girl, but to test the courage of the An unwillingness to leave home is exhibited on the last day. Among the majority of young women, an unwillingness to leave home is exhibited on the last day. The unwillingness, accompanied by violent outbursts of emotion, is partly caused by the break with her family and familiar environment that marriage involves. Sometimes the emotional outbursts reach undue proportion, rendering the young woman a thorough misfit in her new home. Screaming is common even among those who are secretly pleased with the situation. To a person unused to this sight, it would appear to be an act of violence and injustice. But though some of the women may be sincerely upset, a large number of them look back on the incident with great satisfaction and confess that they screamed because it was customary to do so. This is made even clearer by their reaction when they are later present at similar incidents. Amidst the great laughter, they say comforting words to the girl being dragged, assuring her that she will meet with excellent treatment. Traditional ceremonies. The news that a particular girl has been caught is followed by the organization of a group of young girls to follow after the bride. It is this group which brings back news to the parents as to whether the girl was a virgin. They remain at the bride's new home for one night, and during this time, young men were by tradition allowed to spend the night in the same hut with these girls. The next ceremony takes place when the bride's parents slaughter an ox and send special parts of the meat to be shared among the different families within the larger lineage to which the husband belongs. This is followed by a big feast at the girl's home where people spend a whole night outside, drinking, eating, and singing. When the girl returns to his home, it is time for the husband to continue paying dowry as demanded by her parents. At the final ceremony, marking the completion of the dowry and indicating the husband's satisfaction with his wife, is called riso. At this, the husband slaughters an animal and gives a great feast to his relatives. A variant of traditional marriage customs, with the introduction of modern ideas and the widening of people's physical environment, a large number of special marriages now occur which omits various features in the traditional ceremony. This is especially true of marriages where there is strong basis of love. In such instances, a young woman may go to her suitor without a ceremony after making some private arrangement. Christian influence has greatly modified marriage. Like the traditional marriage, the Christian version is characterized by many ceremonies, some new and some old. Thus, in the traditional marriage, the husband is required at each stage to make several payments in live animals to cover seizures. And in Christian marriage, he can cover all of them at once by paying a live animal or some money. Money. The violence which characterized former marriages is absent from the Christian ceremony. In reality, what what happens inside the church is purely Western. But what occurs outside is a blend of modified traditional practices and certain features of Western life. Christian marriage is distinguished from traditional marriage by the large expense involved. Thus, contrary to what might be expected, it is among the Christians that people exist who demand very high dowries for their daughters. Like the traditional marriage, it is also accompanied by considerable emotional strain, felt more by the mother and female children than by the male members of the family. GK, I'm going to stop there because this is a lot before we move to the married life of this girl. I think we're going to delve into that first and then we can continue. So I'm going to take a break.
Come on. One le. Ama. One le inyalo wacho alafu Luo Girl bro bio watch something about Game of Somo.
I see kawuono they are dwelling on how the girl gets to be married. I'm being careful with the words because there is a sequence of how these things happen. The one they have really talked about here, in what we call in Luo UHO, Yuayo Nyako. I don't know how it was developed that it gets to a point. Manyako Yuaeni. And I don't know how far the negotiation would have gone. Kore kanyako ni thuolo nitie ni nyalo yuaye. But I know practically I was told was a few ladies who are now women, some even with grandchildren. We were being told so and so no you are. There's a particular one. Giwacho two of them. Moro no you are called the rego. Tomorrow no you are called the omopi. The one mano you are called the rego is not like no the rego a poem like the normal poshomi. No. She had gone to their own pong had issues. That the one they to the grinding stone had issues at home. So she had gone to another home to Mondoreg Mogo. But these guys knew and timed. I think there is someone who follows through and knows where you are and where the lady is and what you are doing at a particular time. So they timed her when she was coming back from the other home, and that's how they snatched her. This is Ominde also obviously talking. Some of the things could have been true. Some of the things maybe he might have been influenced to say them. But I'm quite interested in how this thing came to be part and parcel of how a lady was to be taken, because there had to be negotiations. The Romo families no nego beni romo wuoyo ichula yie then ichulo unyombo before the marriage begins, before kenyo chakre. There had to be a process. So I'm not sure it happened, but I'm not sure how it used to work negotiation ne timre bang' koseywa nyako, negotiation ne timre kapok oywa nyako. Why are these talks taking place, and how, and at what point now there was a go ahead ni okay in kori then koro wadhi ywaye. I think those are some of the things that personally we need to probe and get. Fast forward, it changed. Chon ni ywayogi. Sanit, a lot of, some of them are we're talking practical life here, because this is Luo we're talking about, Luoness and the consciousness of Luo. It doesn't attack anyone personally. So we have got come we stay nowadays. Nyithindwa Roma town. We are victims, so don't think we're talking about anyone. Kata one, we are victims. One gi families mawage osetimreni. People meet in town. Ini winjo mana ng'ane no se tedo. Oh, tedo nadi? Tedo tiende. Do you know tiende tedo? And then the other thing, mabe apenjo ga sana Ramoth kibiro. Why was it called tedo? Why is it given the name tedo? Does it mean tedo kende manyako ni onego bed timo koso what does it, what weight does the word tedo ng'ano dhi katedo? What word, why the word tedo katedo? Ang'o momiyo mane manomi pek e kinde machon cha ni nyako kokaw dalagi odhi korgi dichuo to nyar ng'ane odhi katedo. Why tedo? Nikech tedo is literally cooking, so why the word tedo? So I don't want to water it down, and I don't want also to dwell into something that I want you to take us through, so that we understand it not in the lenses of how we feel emotionally, no, because there are no emotions here. We're talking about what should have been right, what was done right, what was done possibly in a way that possibly it was exaggerated, and fast forward, where are we so far with this kind of, with the, in terms of dowry negotiations and all that. Again, we touched it recently a bit. We have a lot of issues. I went one nongiswa ni nyako ose puonjo nyaka university, koro the price of the malo. And yeah, I was there personally and physically, and I had it, and I was part of the negotiations. Right. Ramoth aduoko nigo. Oh no, aparo ni Ramoth owacho ni
George winjo piny kanyo giwacho ni jokristo ema bech gin malo. Aparo nitie Bible tax be iye kanyo.
Okay, yeah.
And
Nitie
faith
Bible
tax. Nitie Bible tax, faith
yeah,
tax.
tax omed kabisa. Tax nitie momed kabisa. Luo Girl, wachane kae to GK obi ane ochambua ane wane gini kiasi.
Auda gini mit. Kaka giome, Ominde owacho ni Ominde nowacho ni oyot ayota kichako, because from up there ne nitiere negotiations, and there was Jawang Yo and Jagang, and all that. Kaso kako medo ridore, tiyudo ka when it gets to the time when she should go, koro iywaye. Yuecho ni en gi gik moko ariyo ka. Achiel koywayi, ipimo teko mar jodalau, especially yawuowi. Mano gima aneno, nikech ng'ama dwa biro golo nyaka ei dalagi, who will just pull you from your father's compound when you have brothers? So they test, and the intensity of the fight will also determine how protected you are in that next homestead. How strong are the protectors that you are going to be with? Huko mbele. Are they strong enough to pull you out of your father's compound? And then it's funny when they say women screamed, but later on they admitted that it was, just part of the play. Like, I was screaming because I have to scream. It's not like I didn't want to come. I was just screaming because I had to scream. And then the aspect of dowry. Naona hapa dowry was paid like not dowry, but ceremonies. There were several ceremonies, and they have not named the expenses other than an ox being slaughtered, some parts being sent, and then they've also talked about once you have settled, the man will organize a ceremony for you now, welcoming you into their home. Then they bring the Western culture, which Ramoth will talk about, how marriage has become, especially with church weddings and all that. So I think today, where we marry based on love and agreement between two people, sometimes without involving them. These days, we don't involve them, we inform them. I don't know if I'd love to be dragged around my father's compound, but it would have been pleasant to experience this firsthand, not from stories, but firsthand, you know, for the sake of culture and experience. It would have been nice to experience this firsthand. However, since times have changed, we are more likely to rely on love and interpersonal agreements because you're told that marriage is now, between the two of you, it's no longer a communal thing. So it's more of interpersonal agreement and not a whole family thing or a societal kind of thing. So I think it's diluted. These days it's kind of diluted. Kila mtu anaishi maisha yake, there is come we stay. Because I'm sure these people back then, I think this was the society where ukitoka mahali late when it is not so safe, or if you spend the night outside, for the sake of discipline and to straighten whoever is growing up behind you, you would be told to go and dak kamano unaenda daka kamane nenda nukikiduoge. And that is how some of us end up in marriages that were not planned, neither by the couples nor their parents, just because waliambiwa rudi ulale kwenye ulilala. But this one, I see it involved proper planning. There was test of purity. So no impromptu things like it just happened. No, things didn't just happen. Ominde, things didn't just happen. They were planned. They followed a particular clear channel, and there was a particular result expected. Like if a woman was properly taken care of from childhood all through the discipline, home training and all that, at the end of it all, they send girls with you to your married home so that they come back with the news of whether you are pure or not. So purity was expected based on the upbringing. I wouldn't say there was so much expectations, but then it was a way of maintaining order and probably discipline in the society. So I'd stop there.
Yeah, the Luo Girl, I hear you so well. I hear the sequences that you've brought, and I'm happy because I wanted that orderliness to come out clearly. As much as Ominde was writing this, one thing I can point out in this is that there was order. There was expected results. There was an expectation also that the girls must be virgins. There were those were things you have to really maintain a very high standard of discipline for you to get there. About the about the plasma, the boys or the brothers and the cousins to the girl is protecting them. The aspect was, you've touched it, and I may just add that, as you say, it was but how protected you are. In essence, when this girl goes to the other home, they would never just joke around with her because they know ni kor gi jiger. That word used to be a lot around. Ni nyar gi ng'ane mano nyar gi yawuoyi. Nyar gi yawuoyi ma kitugo kode kimule to yawuoyi biro ni. So that initial aspect miwacho maber mikelo maber no, that was part of also the thing. Ni kanyako odhi onyuome kocha. To koro joko miye luor nikech jothurgi ger. Jothurgi oromo. Jothurgi nyalo gore kodu. Jothurgi nyalo go sana ka utugo kod nyako. Koro mano was also the aspect. GK, kaunwa gini ka wadhi kethe. Ko kitang' to wakethe, wanjawe.
Un mana kare. An ok awinjo gik mang'eny. Gima awinjo mana Luo Girl wacho ni Oben odwani mondo nyakwaye. Mano mit zaidi. Nobodwa experience igine.
Yeah,
Jojo nego wa organize.
wabro miyo yowuoyi address. Wawe. Address madala.
Bro yudo kadao pek. Wuor beto tegno matin, kik wuor mochamo indomi.
Bas. Mano kagi chamo indomi to gibiro to mano donge giwuok maonge nyako. Mano giwuok maonge, mano wach.
Tag. Luo Girl ni wacho na wuoyo about
Ramoth
Christian marriage.
kidogo, sorry Ramoth. I'm just checking. Luo Girl mar ariyo ka kiano odwa wacho something or she's fine. And fine. Sawa. The second Luo Girl, do you want comment koro in sawa? Ka in sawa, sawa. Kidwa comment, you can comment. It's up to you.
And sawa, you can just proceed.
Okay, all right. Thank you. VK, sorry.
Yeah, aude penjo nade mondo ade.
Right. I know for a fact there was a sequence. Mano tang'eyo sequence ma ne nitie jagam, ne nitie. These things were planned. To kendo there was also expectation ni nyako ni apart from opuonje nadi, onyalo rito ganda, onyalo rito chuoro, onyalo rito nyithindo, onyalo rito dala modhiye cha. But there was that aspect mar virginity be ma was very key and was very important. And aparo ni for the sake of everyone, penjo, in fact somebody penje in a different way, but aparo ni the real penjo modwa penjo ni in case noyudo ni nyako no is not virgin, what were the consequences? So that's a question that has come through. Another question that has come through on that is ni assuming ni jomobiro ywa nyako wuon ore kodgi mohingo gi ma nyako dok nyako ni neno bodho ka opusore kaka puoyo ore chwado gi karatira mo kaeto opusore ka puoyo chup.
Onoheroga the archives. Oheroga the archives nikech joluo ose record so much. Awachoga ni joluo ose record so much ma to understand Luo really in its magnificence, you need libraries. You don't need a library, you need libraries. So, ntie another one, Manondik. Iluonge ni Manondik, mano publish ni iluonge no Chola Ayayo. To nondike for Scandinavian Institute of African Studies. Traditional ideology and ethics among the Southern Luo. To who about marriage? But Munda duok kama the second question mokwongo. Wacho kama. Nikech kiwinjo seche moko kiwinjo stories gi mos na dhi mabor i mic. Seche moko kiwinjo stories gi to waneno ga one sided. So mano odhi ogam nyako. So ma fall under the same category ma nyako odagi nikech onyalo tamre. So there's granted, absolutely yes. Mano the first one. Mar ariyo, granted, absolute no. In brackets, nyako odagi. A girl may resist a marriage arranged through her parents. She may postpone the marriage temporarily under what they usually call, I'm thinking about it, in brackets, podaparo. Or she may have it abandoned altogether. And during first escort, mano yuecho, kata meko, and sometimes after she has reached the boy's homestead, nyako dagi. Ineno kaka gi break it down. In these 3 stages, pod onyalo tamre. Onyalo tamre ka ng'ano biro, otamre. Onyalo tamre sama nipenjo nohewogi. Kwanza kohewogi borodhogi ka nyiso notamre completely. Alafu to mos nyako dagi. And then sometimes after she has reached the boy's homestead, pod onyalo dagi. Wacho nyako dagi. The girl has refused. She can show her flat no by holding a euphorbian tree called bondo. A girl may also show her flat negative willingness to enter the marriage by eating the earth, chamolowo, or a handful of Sodom apples, otange. She may climb over the anthill and swear never to be married in that village, or she may show it by an ultimatum that unless her refusal is granted, then suicide is the next alternative. A girl may show her refusal by running to a village where there is mourning, or to a village where another wedding has not been completed. If any of these cases appeared in her refusal, marriage is cancelled automatically. The mother of the girl may also show the absolute no for the marriage of her daughter by turning her back on the members of the would-be husband's clan. She may throw her cloth at them or climb an anthill and swear, never will my daughter be married at that village. If this happened, she was given her daughter to take back with her. The refusal of brothers was never considered seriously and cannot stop a marriage of a sister if the sister wants it. Reasons for the girls' or the parents' refusals are witchcraft, physical unfitness, poverty, inheritable illness, marriage within the same subtribe, or if it was if there was a killing that has taken place in the boy's lineage some time back. It was enough ground for absolute no for the parents, though that may make no sense to the girl. A girl would also refuse to enter marriage on the ground that she does not love the man or the man is not handsome. Iwinjo George? Mukoro ka nyako no orodhogi, they would fall under physically unfit.
Ing'eni?
Kech orodhogi boxing thoroughly. Iwacho nade?
Nawacho ing'eni Luo mit sana. Nikech penjoni idwoke mana gi research ma proper manotim mana gi another institute motimo mana proper research in Luo. Ma emomiyo Luo mitga. And I mean, ng'at mopenjo penjoni bende pache odhi mabor ndi. Nikech mondo en bende opar ni to ka koro nyako ni ore gi jo, nikech it's onge ng'ama bro paro mapiyo piyo ni chwa 5 chwa 6 nyaka dwagore to nyiri moko be nigi juogi nyagore kodum adier, nya chwadre. So the back to those ka nyaka achiel or it doesn't matter no rieko ne mo overpower matin to pusre to as men ok unyal nyuomo nyako under normal circumstances kata an ka en nyara to report na ni ne wan ni woro je ni ji auchien what happened ni no pusre moringo mana be kiny na ketho aduoko no giku ka nyara ok dhi nyompo nyara ok dhi nyompo ma ji nyapie kamano
Wacho nonge.
chieng' manyocha wawacho gine cha chieng' manyocha wawacho manyo wawacho tales cha nyo wawacho wach moro kanyo aguze in be ni iguze matin ni nyathi kata oneno mana liech ka liech lawe kata simba ng'ama ringo kodhi ire wuonigi nikech ong'e ni wuonigi no duong' mohingo simba duong' mohingo liech to tek mohingo gigo te emomiyo oringo kodhi ir wuonigi en ong'e ni wuonigi ne ng'at matek to kata mana min gi nyathi ong'e ga ni jonyuol ne en complete gin nyasaye to gin joma tek to gin so in essence ni nyara overpower yawuoyi auchiel I'm done mano dala ma ji nyapie nyathino ok nyome yeah
Question mani penjo mokwongo cha ne en mane? Achako gi mar ariyo. Mokwongo ne en
yes mokwongo ne en ni openje ni suppose ni nikech wach mar virginity cha was key during that time koro openjo ni to suppose ni nyako ni odhi adieri nikech ni gigi ne bedo tested to bedo tested to oyudo ni nyako no ok en virgin what were the repercussions what were the consequences for that ang'o mane timore kata kokinyo koketh but were there any damages paid or kata dowry ng'ado or something I don't know but yeah that's the question.
again sani abo chako wacho Luo Law 5 chapter akia nikech gik moko te oket
Mit
same
mali
book the same owacho the laws of sexual relationships. The rules which express ultimate and public acceptance values are called in this work normative rules. Normative rules do generally guide conduct. In some cases, they are used to judge whether particular actions are ethically wrong or right. Within a social structure, they can be used to justify publicly a course of conduct or behavior. All moral laws are normatively approved, and all moral laws guide moral actions. The discussion of rules of sexual behavior fall under the concept of queer and chira. Both terms have already been defined in this text, no defined manner before. The term chira has been defined as an immoral act, as all immoral acts and relationships disapproved by the Luo society that might cause sinful consequences to an individual, family, or his lineage. Whereas queer is a higher level of forbidden acts which can cause distractions of the whole society. At some point, chira and queer are so closely linked that it is difficult to draw a line between them. Magidi more so in those kine. But nenti kamane wuoyo about the consequence of sexual kagitimo kangato ken virgin kamano. The consequences were under the schools under part of the schooling. Nkech no worry about the Luo schooling system. Isiwinde. So worry about Simba as an institution called Siwinde as an institution. Mar punjo the girls. Kroacho kama. Daman gigini karka.
See, jogo
No
makia
way,
sim.
no way completely, no way exactly about.
Ibro yude. It's fine. Very.
Wabo ka yude ta aduo go akete
Yeah.
nkech there's so much ka nkech owuoyo ami example. Gimomiyo insistence on marriage is very important. Naparo ni kachako gmato bobedo the core. Why nitie so many rules around? Babiro nyaka virginity, queer, chira and all this. Wachani family as an the family as institution of child upbringing. The very young child remains with his mother in her house for 3 days if it is a male child, and 4 days if it is a female. Makoro emphasize after osenyuole. But gimotemo nyiso ka manwa go through in the book mar Ominde. Nine gineno family as the premier institution, machako raise nyathini. To chako raise nyathini gichako raise nyathini Ouda kata kapok ginindo karachiel. Nyathi ma gidwarono nyaka ging'e the purpose ma gikele for. Nikech owuok kuom kwere. So and a better version of the society. Ken software ka society and software mawach ni 4.2. Nyathi en 5.0. Nikech obiro with or from the ancestors obiro. Alafu and in between to observe society. So raising child is very important. Nikech wadwa nobed jaluo, wadwa nobed luo, obed pure. Ma means ni consciousness ne or understand to any command ma consciousness ne. Nikech consciousness no emitiyo go build gik moko, society, nyithindo. So the parents nyaka bed gimakre. To nowacho ni nikech of the way the body of nyako nitie. Kakokaoga to digest information. Kochako kod ng'at moro kendo bagiwere bobiro. To koro baba gi ni kod wuon gi kod min gi gidwaro nyathini. Data, George, data. Data dhi njao nyathini. Nikech mondo jogi okel this thing completely gikel gima gidwaro. Ineno already wuon gi kapok ochako nindo gi min gi nyaka obey nwasomo kako bet jaluo. So odhi through consistent testing.
Correct.
Gik ma en, his thoughts, addictions, his strengths, that whole data set. Omiyo mamani. Mamani kaos this data set, especially koonge moro. To dende nyalo tiyo with this data set to the highest level. Nikech onge interference, onge gima body compare go ma is the one.
Correct. Makes
So
a lot of
kotiyo kode to the maximum effect. But koro ma obiro kod data moro. Nikech mane data ma dende nokao mane ng'at mokwongo. Nyako wiyo ok wil ga with ng'ama okwongo. Kata ka nofuo nadi. Ok nyal. Mano ok timre ga. Ok nyal. Nikech okao part of data ma ng'ani to bedo part of her. Mano emopuonjo dende how to deal with the human, with the male species. So emomiyo jogi ne keto so many rules kanyo. Nikech ging'eyo ni kwadwa form joma pure, joma joluo, pure, by pure kwa means not sinners, what mean joma in this journey of mastering consciousness gi and a lot of work. Tidwa migi the best possibilities. Idwa migi the best society. Idwa mutemo juu chini mondo umigi the best of the best. Madhi njao data. Dakachiel.
Tiende en station ruo stations. Koro
Bas. But onge yo ma reverse that. Ma emomiyo nineno mokwongo giwacho kama. Kineno kata neni the Luo Girl kama ne giwacho nyiri moko biro to bodok dhi wacho ka en virgin.
yes.
Emomiyo nyiri ka dhi dok wacho ka en virgin. Alafu ineno after kanyo bedo series of celebrations. Celebration ka wuon gi. Celebration ma wuon gi to the whole society. Celebration ma chuore to gine. To his kin. To relatives ne. Nikech wayudo ng'ama nyalo ka adier wa create dichuo ma dichuo. Ma en a man ok en male. En a man. To wang'e ni dhako ni nikech onge any other data set. Odhi reproduce jogi.
Pure.
Ka really ka korgi gi puonje maber. Odhi multiply ng'ani ok kata 3 times. Odhi obet exponential. Nitie mon mong'e multiply di par, moko di riyo, moko di dek, kamano. Nikech nowacho kan the kigolo koro woman as nowacho ka mokwongo kanwachako ji confuse ga gini. Kiwacho ni female to giparo ni wuoyo about dhako. There are female bees. There are female trees. There are female fruits. There are female flowers. Ji ok pare ga kamano. There are female trees. Nitie gik mang'eny sana ma gin female. So capacity ni mawacho ni ma data set ni the whole female sphere ni kode. Ok dhano kende. Kata plants ni kode. Ka yien oyudo the best seed to dhi produce the best fruit. And capacity ma koro yien on capacity ma reproduce it 10 times, 5 times, 2 times, depending on kaka quality ma the tree. So jowan ong'e gigi. Nok giges. Emomiyo ineno before kanyo ne nitie so many restrictions kuom nyako nikech her body works so differently in such an amazing way. In such an amazing way ma odwaro extra mastery.
Ogidwa na winj. Alwar completely.
Awacho ni odwaro extra mastery. Nowacho ka ni being there's a feminine kata female part of the cosmos. Makoro that part obiro to obedo part of the female human being, the human person. So nowacho ka gimomiyo ni tere to learn about the water, no learn more about herself nikech water nigi that capacity.
Yeah.
Trees nigi that capacity. And capacity ma one kaka chuo we do not really understand it. Kama wang'eye how it works nikech we observe nature. But understand it as experiencing it. Ok wa experience it. Nikech amin kama ng'ato nyalo ng'eyo riembo gari, but pok oa riembo gari. Ong'e how it works. Ma kidiyo ma accelerator to gini move, but pok oa riembo gari. But the knowledge ma riembo gari en go. So wang'eyo how this thing works. But the experience of how this thing works, we never experience it. We never experience it. So, Joanne into with Negi understand life much, much deeper. Much, much deeper. Makata kineno process ma nyako no scream donge. To enjoy. Nikech kata Luo Girl dwa scream. No dwa scream. Mondo experience gino. That part chal gima tin. But emo miwinjo tinde ji wacho ni moni chendo. Macha ni miye chance maman mabedo herself. Nikech nitie a reason why o behave kamano. Tinjo ni chaos no enjoy ye kabisa. Kelo chaos no enjoy ye kabisa. But give me allowance ma enjoy this. And a very interesting statement. And very, very interesting. Idwa wacho gimoro George kata Luo Girl iwacho. A question mano penjo. Oudo timni gicha. Igine ni just kapok watieko, kapok iwacho gimoro George. Nitie kamoro kama nadwa refer ka. Ana matin kuma ondike gi. Jagam. Jagam. Kaka owache ka. Owacho ni. Duty of a Jagam in marriage. In consideration of the activities of Jasem. Wachak gi Jasem. Nikech wacho ni there's duties ma Jasem in marriage. George winjo nitie parts moko ma gigi moko winjiga. Traditionalist ohero ga miwa one-sided.
Yeah.
The concept of Jasem in the Luo marriage. The Jasem can be defined as a person who tries the best he or she can do to discourage the success of a marriage by either genuine reasons or the negative propaganda already mentioned. Witchcraft, sorcery, theft, and all sorts of antisocial activities. There is no Luo marriage where Ajasem is not inferred. The attitude of Ajasem is that which explains individualistic familism, and more simply as individual jealousy. If Ajasem says they are weird relatives, this will almost bring the process of marriage to a halt, because what cannot enter into marriage affairs. Jasem may also allege that one of the party to the union suffers antisocial diseases. The one which they know for sure is coming to kill, or is not an ordinary illness. Some of the allegations of Jasem are centered around the manners and behaviors of the parties to the union. A Jasem may allege that a man or woman is such a greedy fellow that they have never seen. He may say to the girl that the man to be her husband is such a coward that he may never go out to urinate because of darkness. He can also say that the man is a great liar or that he is a thief. If the allegations of the Jasem appear strong and cannot be disavowed or disapproved by persons who claim to know the two parties, that is a Jagam, the go-between of the man and the woman, the marriage process may break. Since the Luo marriage process lasts so long a time, there okay. Oh, sorry. Since the Luo marriage process lasts such a long time, 3 months or even a year, those marriages which resist Josem are capable of becoming permanent. Josem actions are intended to test the seriousness of the two parties to the union. Sometimes it happens that the love between the two parties is too strong for Josem to break through, but later their words are proved to be true. If it is regarded to be a very serious allegation, the marriage may be dissolved. But if they are minor, such as the woman is lazy, the man is greedy, it may result only in an unhappy family. In an unhappy family, but divorce may never take place. The concept of same, in one way, stresses the jealousy or envious feeling that someone is going to have something more or better than what oneself is having. In one way, it stresses the normative values, rules, and beliefs must be respected in every social or cultural structure, i.e., institutions. Yasem tests steadiness and respect for the rules of the marriage institution. It reminds the parties to the union that all possible grounds for future conflict. Iwinjo kanyo, George.
Maler kabisa.
Isewinjo kaka joma nyisowa traditionalist gi ka nyisowa ni Jasem be nyaka bedie ka mondo
No,
test jogi.
giwacho ga mana jogam. To be honest, I've had just jogam, joywecho, joywar. Moro ne wacho ni joywecho go bende samoro ka ginyalo dhi yoyo nyako ma bende ne gigombo, to ok koro yiero ng'ama chielo or ng'ama chielo moywaye. Oywecho ka odwa pado nyako ni gi asira ma koro nyako ni ok oyier. Moro be nawinjo ka wacho story no kamano. But the bottom line is none of them speaks about Jasem. They always just speak about Jagam and that process mar ywecho. Yeah.
In consideration to
And
the
I think it's wrong nikech kata mana in our own lives ka wa feel ni aspect monego wa project en mana joma beyo ma into in 100% ma aparo ni mano life doesn't work like that. We have to look at both sides of life, how it goes. Emomiyo amor ka ng'ama openjo chani. Ing'eni it is so easy to mondo i assume ni chwa 5, chwa 6, chwa 4, there is no way manyako no nyalo overpower you. But look, she thought ni what happens ka nyako ni overpower jogi mopusre moringo, because it can only be that ni onge kaka the conventional thinking en ni chwa 6 onge kaka de
network ni ginyoni talo gisechako nyoni koro.
nyako chwa
Gisechako nyoni.
6 ywayo.
Kosenana aneno ka side na ema network gine. Ne gisechako nyoni telo. One le.
That would be kind of
Ni lal. Ni lal na.
kodhi ne nyaka bed kodhi mapiwa, because kidwaro ni gino wuog maber, cham wuog maber, to kata ka ji ne dwa dhi chwoyo bando, jogo manodonge tworo kaka wan, nitie ndalo chuoyo Ramoth, idhi chuo bando. The process mikwongo itimo en ni the seeds ineno ka jomadongo ka gikawo the seeds kapo kiny kata chuopo kiny or a day after gigolo maricho oko. You see them ikwanyo maricho igolo oko. That is the exact thing makora feel katemo connect ni kara mano ema ne jodongo gineno ni nyako ni onego bed pure. Data mi wacho cha nyaka bed pure data mondo the products, the end results obed jogo manyalo bedo ma are purely Luo people ma can maintain, can be put and can be stored in the Luo consciousness and then become proper Luo products. So it is very profound. And that's exactly gimane gitimo kata gi kodhi. Wan wapuro nyaka pamba. Pamba kane idhi pidh to igolo kodhi no ikuongo ipiedhe maber ma hakikisha ni only mabeyo emodhi opidh. Maricho tineno kiwito nikech they don't want the results to be wrong results. So it really makes sense, a lot of sense, yeah. For them,
Don't get, don't get,
for them, the society, what is gonna come up out of this couple, that was very important for them. Yes.
yeah, dong mago plants makiny, mago yiende makiny. Mago yiende makiny. To yien ok ichak pidhe nyoro. Ichako pidhe chon. Amomiyo nawacho, dong ineno kata kapok udhi chuopo, kata kapok uyudo seeds, to gi-decide seeds go mokwongo. Mana ng'isi parents gi kata kapok gichako chuore mokwongo. Girango gima society need. Mantindo the future onego, nikech nyaka gibed aware. Ka gin joluo, nwacho the Luo village. Gin very aware ni the Luo village enang'o. So the Luo village nitie process no nyaka ging'e gimomiyo gidwaro nyithindo machal kama. Labda gichopo sama wasigu ng'eny. Gidwaro nyithindo matek. So, nen science moro. Kaka iwacho ni gidhi chuopo, ging'eyo seeds maber. Ging'eyo seeds maber. Ouda jogi kawuono gin kodi. Kik awach ni kawuono gin kodi alafu giweri kodi gibi kuoma as usual.
Kawuono giramona.
Kik awach kamano mondo gibi side na koro. George, gima ni wacho ni the concept of jasem. Time makoro ni ipuonjowa gigi nokonya sana. Nikech kata kane wan gi min ot maduong', gima ne konya kata seche moko kwan matek tawacho ni bet piny. Mon ohero ga wacho ni inie the problem. Inie the shida. To always na remind ni nitie gik moko adek. Nitie an, in, kod the problem. Always gino ne konyo. Nikech seche moko kata ka iye wang' kode. Nitie en, an, gi the problem. Nikech before problem no wuog, makabedo symbolized by jasem, ne wan mana maber. So natemo ga ng'ise ni kichako neno na anie problem, ama an achako neno ni inie problem, mano is unsortable. Ibo sort nade. Ka inie if the person is a problem, ibo loke nade. But ka nitie an kod in alafu nitie problem. Wanyalo look at the problem. Kata seche moko wanyalo keto the blame to the side, warang the problem. The problem en ang'o adier. Nikech ka anie problem to mano koro keny no ok bitiyo. Ka inie the problem, mano is hopeless. But ka nitie problem, Nikech problem seche moko ok en mana ng'ato.
Mm.
Onyalo bet misunderstanding. Onyalo bet many things. Nikech kata ineno kaka describe. Onyalo wacho gik mang'eny. Ng'ani nyap. Ng'ani gini. So nok osekonya sana.
Mm. Because
Nikech
both of you are looking at the problem from a point of view mar sort it out, not looking at each other as if the other is the problem.
mano is unsortable.
Is unsortable. Mm.
Ng'ane mana learn from jodongo go. George, if the other person is the problem, ibo sort and the any other problem. Just her existence is the problem.
Mano kiyot.
So second step, mane koro aparo bang'e. Ing'en George Aromo ok nonyuola kod nyako ni.
Akoni yudo kasi kan kod 32 teeth.
Ai.
Obo
Ng'ama
yudo
duong'.
32 teeth already.
Ng'ama duong'. Aromo
Backgrounds opogore ma.
ng'ama ong'e rwako nyaka ang'uos. Ai kende.
Yeah.
Ai. Koro an ng'ani wachna iromo kod ng'ani wachni for example aromo kod ng'ani ken 22 for example. Wachni kwa dhiro sana e time masani en 28.
Mm-hmm.
Wan waneno ka wagolo concept kaka makwere puonjowa ni. An aneno thuno, aneno del, mane maneno.
Mm-hmm.
Ok aneno ma is 28 years of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Ema kelo ka.
Mm-hmm.
Ma naturally emomiyo nyaka identify ni nitie en kod problem.
Koro sama gik mabeyo lile mani neno ka to koro issues ochako biro to koro ibuok
Ok kata gik mabeyo. Ok kata gik mabeyo. Jojo gik madwaro.
Well, gik midwaro. Koro ka issues jati penjri to karamang'a kech mana kao to ne ok chal kama.
Nikech an na concentrate gik madwaro, not gima gino en.
Correct.
Ama gima ng'ano en.
Correct.
Emineno kata jasemni temo wacho gigi ka jogi opiro karachiel. Jogi joido, magi jokuoye. Nikech mago be nowacho ka, okay, aromo kode 28. En osebet relationship kod jakuo, conman, magi te DNA mokawo.
Correct.
Wiya wil ne mae mobiro mbele ka. Alafu ikaw jowa matinde insecure gi. Ok onyal penje kata ni isebet kod chuo adi to gi. George gisebiro side na. Giwei.
Kori giwe.
Ok gipenj kata ni jogo gin ng'a. Ne gitimo ang'o. Oluor design moro ma en focus mana gik modwaro. Emomiyo ineno process ni is very interesting. Ni jogi pod pok gimit bagiro jasem biro to wacho ni ing'en jogi idoga. Ebu parie uru gino.
Ing'en jogi jokuoge.
Magi jokuoe.
Jokuodhok.
Miyudo sani. Sani. Iromo kod nyako ni kata dichuo ni. To gigi emopando kucho. Mathuo ni jakuo. Iluonge ni smart akia ang'owa. Thuo ni jakuo. Okwalo nyaka penj kuma entie no. Emomiyo ochopo kama entie no.
Kendo odwaga kwalo nyako ni ka. Obiro gi pesa moro matin mokwalo gamoro. Kaeto koserumo to koro kora ni.
Situation no George. Pesa e jagam.
Pesa e jagam.
Pesa e jagam.
Bang' ndalo matin To koro nitie kuna mpango ingine imechelewa hapa kidogo, hebu nikope hapo 1,100 nitakurudishia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odwa dhi kao gini. Otemo import gik moko kogolo China.
Kosechopo 1,100 to container koro kwami nam. Problem.
Gigi timre daily, but wawe jomoko. So ineno
Nyasembo okao problems oketio.
so ineno this process bedo important. Koro wawachi jagam nikech gichako gi jasem. So kata kinene as a process nikech wachoga the Luo is interesting. Opuonji paro. Kwere puonji paro kata ka gisekalo. Pod gipuonji paro. Aya isedhi through those gigo. Koro ng'isi the duty of jagam in marriage. Ineno kako chal court, George. Mang'isi ga joluo are very legal. Go after justice.
Yes.
Kata
Yes.
kineno in this relationship, emomiyo nitie the accusing side and the defending side. Ng'eny ji ok pare kamano. Emomiyo mbaka manigo ni ma jagam cha ineno ma court ma corrupt. Ma ok en court kata, ma scam. To ma scammer ma wuoyo. Ma scammer. Aya. In consideration of the activities of JSM, which tries to allege that the normative rules have been violated or are going to be violated, a jagam, a go-between, must also recall the existence of nyiego, envy and jealousy that may be accompanied with these allegations. A jagam must therefore see to it that the truth is established for the validity of those antisocial and anti-cultural behavior. In all normal marriages, the Luo cannot carry it without jagam. Because in all marriages, there will always be a jasem. It therefore becomes necessary to clear up all allegations which may prevent the success of a marriage. The duty of a jagam is not only to clear up the doubts and the allegations of the antisocial behavior, e.g., witchcraft, sorcery, and so on, and other forbidden relationships or illness, such as those I have given above, but also he acts as a witness who must record in his memory all the ceremonies, all the number of cattle, sheep, goats slaughtered during those numerous ceremonies, also the number of cattle and their color, size, shape, the shape of their horns, which are given as bridewell. The jagam is therefore considered as chief witness in future negotiations. Should a divorce be necessary and the return of the wild bridewell demanded, in order to reduce the unfortunate, ugly, and complex state of the Luo divorce, it was best to check the most obvious normative rules that must not be violated by sheer love or by mistakes. Jagam had to assure the two parties, the parents of the girl and of the boy, that there are no obstacles to the proposed union. He must be a person who knows the two parties or some of the extended lineage relatives, or has a means of knowing the two parties enough to guarantee that no obstacles exist. This is always a difficult task and may take a long time. It sometimes happens that the young men and women are not so patient as to wait for all the details because of the distances that may be involved from the fact of the exogamous rules. The marriage must be outside of the sub-tribal group, and also because of the lack of communication. The youth will definitely lose patience and may elope. If the elopement takes place before the marriage process begins, that is before any cow is sent as bridewell, then elopement, remains a bad stigma to the girl in her new home for the rest of her life because she has violated an important normative rule of marriage. It was therefore important to wait for the word of Jagam, granting the go ahead, and the prospective groom was then invited by Jagam to the village of the bride for final discussions, where he is told officially that the marriage should begin. If he or she is related to both sides of the Jagam, to both sides, if he or she is related to the both sides, the Jagam facilitates the arrangement and often goes together with the prospective groom to the village of the prospective bride.
Luo girls, no elopement. Winjo, stigma no dhi bet kodi nyaka chieng'.
Oh, gigi tema.
Mang'o? Ati?
Gigi tema. Eloping, it's not allowed, yeah. Kata sani ok en gima is recommended, lakini tema.
Joma bro donjo e village koro gigo onge. Wan gi proper channel, Jagam, Jasem. Wadwa winjo both sides. Ma koro en court.
Wadum. Wacho ni Gidi to the village often goes together with the prospective groom to the village of the prospective bride, accompanied by two more persons. One of them must be senior to the bride. The senior member reports back to the boy's family on what he has seen at the girl's lineage. Jagam is an important witness at future claims. The Jagam is an important witness at future claims, or if future claims should this prove necessary through divorce, separation, or the custody of children. It is true, as Wilson reported. Notice Kanyo. It is true, as Wilson reported, that there are certain ceremonies when the groom must be present, but customarily, he must remain silent and leave the talking to the Jagam. Often the Jagam is able to proceed on his own. Luo investigate the family of the girl carefully for signs of witchcraft, for the evidence of blood feud, or for a history of twins in the family. Twins are regarded to be weak, so that if they can be avoided, the better. But once they are born, nothing could be done about it, but to show that they are liked. Other reasons to consider marriage as being infertile in the state of being lastborn. Chogo of a woman, Mago is irrelevant. Even George. Yes. Alafu kiwacho marriage moral diseases. Alafu kurogidi he approved go ahead and the no manasa mochakashi the girl refuses. In case kata stories gikiwinjo imi waga as if she has no choice.
Exactly. Yes, but yeah, we have to ask, Tokodagi, what can happen? What could be the worst? You gave a scenario ma onyalo dhi ochung' anthill. Kochung' anthill to koro mano is a totally, there is a red line that has already been crossed. To ema koro
Omie several ways.
yeah.
Until in achiel to onyalo hold the bondo. Onyalo chamo low.
So that narration kata narrative ni they had no option. Ka jonyuol osewacho, it's not true.
Donga ng'isi ka George ni iwinjo kaka ng'isi ni joluo matinde wazunge ema formgi.
The girls had a right to say no. and they were given options on how to say it.
Abonyo
Elaborate
George.
and plan
Abonyo
maber. Kirengi dhi chunge William. Jiongeni okodwar. They can't force you.
abonyo your point no.
Mm.
Awachoga joluo matinde wazunge mofomgi how time moro nowacho kan consciousness nigi 3 parts. Nowacho ni consciousness nigi 3 parts. But ki mess with the content part ma consciousness, to ng'ani bo make the wrong decisions always. Ng'ani bo make the wrong decisions always nikech en misinformed.
Correct.
Ki change the story ne matin, obo believe ni mano is the truth.
Yeah.
Emomiyo iwinjo kata ng'ani kondiko but pod odwa quote nwa wazunge ni Wilson said. Omindo oketowa gi Southall kaka Southall wacho.
Yes, it's true.
So kata kaka waneno obedo change ni mos mos. Iwinjo ji kaka Evans Pritchard giri ema bedo authority on Luo history. Miye wacho authority onyalo loko story no kaka odwaro. Kadno ok wasomo gini about emomiyo amor ga ni gik joluo were recorded. Pod ing'isi about oral, there was only oral history.
In oral history. Moko be wacho totally we didn't have a history.
Alafu kirango the world view tineno gigi make sense. Nitie kaka giparo, emomiyo chike wuok, emomiyo kweche wuok. Nitie a science, nitie a mathematics, nitie a deep understanding of nature. So and interesting. And George say why winjo jasem, and I know say why winjo jasem.
Jaseme Kane or marriage arrangements in a nutshell. I've not had ni mano is a big role mangano mani teach muti. No.
Yeah. So one onagi. One formed only because of Nag.
So how are we
But then
anymore talk nagwa sani? Koro the word on nagisha
I
doesn't.
don't get, but it means a lot. It makes sense. Nikech nitie gima ogol. Nitie some part of our history kata consciousness mogol. So one kirango history to one mapengo kamano. Ok understand. Kata gik makwerewa neno easily. Wan ok understand. Pod bagwa. Kata ok bagwa, kata wakia. But mane kama wantie. So wachoga history gi mondo jaluo onagi masani kata jaluo onagi masani ong'e how he has come to be. Ng'ama nochweye. Mondo koro onyalo recreate en owuon. Wadhi mbele. Ng'ado medo mano kendo wadhi mbele otelo. Either ka Luo Girl dwa wacho gimoro ama dwa medo.
No, unless Lugal do wacho gimoro.
Nikech part masomo ni be en gini.
Checking if we have messages too, but Lugal in give as I check if there are messages.
Mana matin on the part ma Ramoth okelo mar jasem. Is akia ni odhi wuok kaka penjo, but king'iyo these families, akete in the aspect of family nikech sometimes you find that this jasem is not a stranger. Jasem is someone if the other party listens to them, Jasem is someone that can be trusted. Most of the time they present themselves as people who can be trusted. Uh, this is to the larger audience and Ramoth. What if Jasem is part of the family, maybe an auntie or an uncle, Castor, let's say sometimes they lie, sometimes they speak the truth, especially on matters in compatibility, because marriages were only allowed to be compatible with people or to people with same backgrounds in some matters. Kama if you are witches, you are matched with witches. So if there was maybe a part where Jasem lied, like Jasem just went and said you're a witch when you're not, or any other issue that might arise that may, lead to the relationship or the betrothal breaking up, was there a way of punishment, let's say, or a way in which these people could be reprimanded so that the society does not fall apart? Because, when you go and lie to a point that a marriage doesn't take place, it's bad. Especially if you lied, it's bad. But Jasem, this Mongani, Gemiriambo, was there any way, Mane, maybe a punishment could be, put on this person, or a way they could be reprimanded to stop or to reverse this, to mend issues? Was there a procedural manner?
Oh, they was mad. He was mad.
Ramoth, gima the Luo Girl openjo no. And it has got a lot of folds in it, but I would pick a few. Number one, jealousy can never be ruled out in any society. So a family member could be Jasem. To intent, what would be intent? Onegwa probe the intention. Mare samotimo gini. One of the intentions that could create a Jasem and jealousy. Nyarangane di tedo. Ay, kama ber manade no. Jealousy would push that. So in terms of jealousy, it would be very easy mondongani or lie mondo or tem by all means, and even if it means Miriambo mondo this thing or this marriage will be scattered, they would do it. So the jealousy would be there. But I'm also thinking that as we get into the brain of Jasem and understand them, there could be a Jasem who would actually mean well or question Jagam, but indirectly ni nyaro wadwa dalacha okber. To Jagam is also pushing an agenda. So these two people, we may at a point need to probe their brains, samagiti mugini, their intentions actually. Nikech, I would think ni samoro nitie magasem ni bede could mean well. Ni gik mowacho gik madieri because Jagam might be driving an agenda nikech en Jagam and odwaro ni marriage ni ofaulu. But Jasem could be either fighting ni nyathi nyaminwa, nyathi nerwa, nyathi ng'ane okadwar no nyuomi dalacha or okadwar no nyuom nyako ma ai dalacha. So I think we also need to be probing the intentions, or in what in law is known as intent. What would be driving force as somebody decides to do what they want to do? Odwabedo Jasem, what is the driving force? Odwabedo Jagam, what is the driving force? Jogam moko could be they are gaining. Wuod ng'ato ng'ise ni mama, ang'e ni ng'iyo gi joka ng'ane ka, tahero nyargi cha. Okay, timna mpango mondo aide. So obrobedo, the wheels will be greased as he or she is working on that. So a number of issues also we must also need to probe them. But in a nutshell, each and every one of them might be having a driving force as to why they've taken the role they've taken, why I desire to be Jagam and why I decide to be Jasem. There must be. a driving force. So I think that what we need to do as a society is to probe what is driving them, what is the force behind their roles that they have taken.
Erokamano Wuda. Luo Girl pare kama. Mama insist gir mo world view. Luo world view. Mama is very important. Luo world view and interested in justice. Mama is the first point. Scientific. I mean example. Kawani court to and the accuser and the lawyer, my prosecutor, prosecutor. The judge a defender. And a defense lawyer. Alafu inima inka in mbele judge ka. To argue Guinea not based on envy and gig, argue Guinea based on law. Law come in ne wadwa nyuolo relationship. Wamanyo ne it's right to exist. It's right to take place. Kiparo time manwa somo gigo. Nentie that insistence. Manwa they so much into this Luo thinking and how they do and how legal it is. Gimomi ogi stand on justice. And mano. To understanding majuok, then the creative and the creative possibility, then the destructive possibility. Emajoki represent. Okay, about these individuals. Mano in religious mindset, nkech wadua punish these people. Nkech gimo. Ngani temo destroy Guinea. Jagam temo create Guinea. So kata this relationship ikete before obed formed, nkech podi gidonji ken. Wani discussion. Gitemo keto mbele jok ni Guinea nitie right ma exist. Argument ni ok en no hero jogi. Jagamo kata jasem ok ni gihero jogi. Gin kaka jodongo gitemo create a space for this marriage. And above punish just jasem. Kiwacho kamano ti iwuoyo with the modern Luo understanding of jasem. The same idea mokelo jachien. To ineno kwa somo Luo ka jachien akure. Nikech kiwinjo tinde kawacho mano jasem to min mano wasigu. Two words that mean very different things. Ma samagini timre. Ma is a discussion between the families. Woini kod nyakoni are not there yet. Gin gingiso mana interest. Manema kama jagamu okay. To gitemo neno legally. Wakel every opposition to this thing. Mako chung to chungo gima stable. Emomiyo jagam dibedo witness. Bange ka divorce work. Emomiyo keep account of how many cows, what happened, and this odo chal kawani court kendo. George Dwagolo every evidence no kitimo gino. Every magiwachon beyond a shadow of a doubt no kitimo gino. To an kaka prosecutor atemo prove without beyond a shadow, not without a shadow of doubt, beyond a shadow of doubt, this thing should onegi suffer consequences nikech nitimo gini. To ka loyo kabiro with enough evidence. Ok be judge gini by your feelings. Ichak wacho ni judge ni prosecutor ni no sera time moro to natamra emomiyo ogine okelo case ni. Ibo pension what? Yes, feelings, but evidence wacho nade. Mane scenario morango ka. Akia ko make sense.
Luo Girl.
Owinjore.
But I'm happy Ramot Samo chako penje kapok openjo owacho ni okia ni it will come out kaka odware, but however much okete, but you've really clarified it. Kai onge emotions. Kai it's a matter of justice. Emotion, yeah, ng'ato dwa gero, ng'ato dwa ketho. Onge emotions. And Luo
Another way, George, minyalo wache in a simple way, and katoka ngisin kiloso strategy thing is in think of all the things that could go wrong. Pare something like this.
yes.
Think of all the reasons it would work, Jagam, why you should get it. And think of all the rejection and reasons why you should not get it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is happening. But koro give me a gibedo persons nikech gidwa create something physical. Okay, na concept. Okay, na business plan ama proposal ama. Ema miyo nawacho kwere gi puonji paro. Traditionalist miyoga waparon gigi gin gik mane timre physically. Ing'ado guok in two. Yani, Luo is more about consciousness. Paro. I mean, for a long time, what spent Gakwadi into annals of Luo thought. Gik magindiko. Magi they have always been a very intellectual culture. Very intellectual. So, kata kwa yao the first question mani penja George, adia into the archives. The second question, archives. Ntie, onge guesswork.
Onge guesswork, I agree.
Joma loso pyramid, George. Seriously. Okinya loso pyramid with guesswork. To come in pyramids make Egypt. I mean pyramids make Sudan. Okay, there are more pyramids in Sudan, more low Egypt.
Than Egypt.
Tokanyema, according to the story, is the origin of Joluo. So, worldview Majoluo is so scientific, so legal, so legal. Momiyo nigolo gik moko. Jagem, imedo jachien. Mondo okobed ochal fairy tale. Koro ji bedo confused. So you form the next Luo. Jojo wachanade.
Jachien to bende miketho nyinge. Kata kama onge.
George koro idwa keto gini mondo bed jotuoro gi omiwa nafas. Idwa keto gini koro wadwa chako tetea jachien koro wadwa kete jachien koro nitie kod jasem kod jagam. Joseri tuoro ni umiwa pressure.
Sama jagam nitie cha, to jasem ni kod. To nyako midwa nyuom cha be ni kacha. To wuoi be ni ka. Families ariyo ka be nitie. Nitie an invincible person ka iluongo jachien, bende ne iwacho ni wuotho ka.
Obel. Sano odwa kelo nyakono matunda. Akia matunda, akia apple, akia ang'o.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, Ramod, this is profound, Nikeche. We are reading The Luo Girl, a book written by Professor Minde in the year that he was able to write, which was 1949. We have questions in the year 2026. about the book, we are probing Ominde's mind. We are putting the real situation into perspective. We've had situations mane Ominde wacho ni wuon nyako bet e laro ni to koro opimo oneno osomo pach nyako ni nyare monyuolo ni to koro ong'e gima nyare ni maybe nyalo bet ni paro kata wacho and all those things. We put all those into perspective and we come to a sense ni the battle is not about guesswork. It is about Luo consciousness. It's about Luo and justice. And it doesn't matter. Onge gima matter and justice no. And I'm talking about the first justice. Nikech ka joma ne nitie program cha. We are talking justice ma sani ma we can say sani ma in Mombasa to ng'ad pes ing'ado pes ng'ato Turkana ni gero go udi. To in ema idwa wuok Mombasa kucha ni in wuon justice iting'ri idhi e barabara nikech ong'ado pes ng'ato Turkana. That's not the justice we are talking about. The first justice. Kendo tenets mage opogore sana gi our thinking how justice works now. They're two different things, totally different. As it was, Ramoth always explains it. That's the concept in which I'm putting it. But we are in 2026. We are asking questions based on a book that was written in 1949, but it is not the wisdom of 1949 that is answering our questions. It is the wisdom of the ancestors that is answering the questions. We look at those concepts. The book is written in 1949. The questions are being asked in 2026. Things have changed. The way you bring up kids in your own eyes has changed. So there's nobody who would want to bring up their kid. They will tell you no. Okanyal keto nyithinda obed ka nyithindo manodongo in 1949. Okanyal we nyithinda chandre kaka na chandra. Okanyal we nyithinda da. It's all over. We have the situations that we have now. They are facing us. Right now, I think there are more 20 schools that have been closed in Kenya. These are young people, managed by adults. There is a president, a whole president with a cabinet. There are provincial, whatever, adults. Tomadongo. Bende won't train professionals, won't train intellectuals, are in positions. They can't manage young people. Iloro schools. Those schools are headed by adults who have gone to colleges, universities, or some management or some education. They can't manage them. Why? Now, those questions cannot be answered by the normal so-called intellectuality here now in 2026. We need to probe and look for those answers in Luo ancestral recordings. They are there. We've asked a question now, directly answered. Not in the concept of 1949. Ancestral answers are coming to answer questions in a book based in 1949, but answering questions in 2026 promptly. No guesswork. The Luo girl needed to have followed a certain protocol. Sani to koro gin a boarding school kacha to bende ng'ama gichandre go kata ng'ama chandre kod gi onge. Ging'e maber kabisa ni virginity is valuable. So there is their parents won't even bother with that. They'll take care of it themselves. Yes, Ram.
Wiyo paro mos from ng'adi. Nitie gima ne Luo girl wacho ni abo wuoyo about Christian marriage, but ado wuoyo about history of romantic love in Europe a bit.
Yeah.
Owacho kama, evolution of romantic love in Europe, historical context. The concept of romantic love in Europe underwent a significant transformation starting in the 12th century. Prior to this period, love between men and women was often seen as a weakness. Abonuoyo kanyo. Prior to this period, 12th century, 1100s, love between men and women was often seen as a weakness. However, during the 12th century, it began to be celebrated as a heroic ideal. Key developments, 12th century. The shift towards viewing romantic love as heroic began influencing literature and cultural norms. Subsequent centuries. This idealization of love continued to evolve, becoming a central theme in Western literature and culture. Impact on society. Literature. Romantic love became a prominent subject in poetry, stories, shaping the narrative of relationships. Marriage. The institution of marriage increasingly centered around love rather than merely economic or social arrangements. Conclusion. The evolution of romantic love in Europe has had lasting effects on how relationships are perceived and celebrated, yes, making it a fundamental aspect of Western culture. Gyorton, for example, what were the key literary works that shaped romantic love in Europe? Romantic literature in Europe emphasized emotional and individual experience, with key works including Goethe's The Sorrows of Young Werther, 1774, which popularized the sensitive, passionate lover archetype, and Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, 1813, which explored courtship and marriage through wit and social critique. Awinjo mano? Ouda.
Awinji ba.
Ng'eni ji ok warang ga kata gigi.
To makoro Valentine ber mitni. Koro watimo nang'o?
Bonuoyo joluo masani.
Kendo Valentine en ohala maduong' sani malich. Duong' ma. Business, full time business. To kata Valentine ema wakia ni tiende nang'o.
Onego ng'ato rang the history of courtship, dating in European history.
Yeah.
Ibo bedo surprised. Because by the time mane jogi bedo introduced to romantic love, majority of the society ne paro ni this is madness. Nikech ji nong'iyo kod arranged marriages. Ne gi resist gini for so long. Emomiyo nochako bedo introduced into literature. Tineno kata the concepts waneno ga kaka gik mowacho, waneno movies gi kaka love bedo expressed, ni ji nyodhre and all this. Magi gik mane gi invent in the 1800s. Nikech ohala ne nitie behind it.
Yeah.
Which one, George? Which ohala was behind it?
Ohala ma
Ing'e gima nomiyo gigi spread? The printing press. The printing press. Ok waranga the story ma ok waranga Europe as wanenega as polo, as our story, as not as what it is, an experience of a people. My man, okay. Nikech by the time ma printing koro bedo famous, nikech koro ji nyalo print anything. Because a lot of the mondo ji ochak somo bed interested in reading, nikech majority for a long time ji nok som. The Catholic Church was really against it. Bedo literate was punishable by death.
True.
So ati ng'ato chak emomiyo ineno kata Martin Luther adhi deep sana. Adhi deep sana bongado na waya.
Yeah, idwa mulo Martin Luther King kama a lot of gik manopingo ma kata moro ni polo be ninyiewo ng'e dhi polo be ninyiewo ga ndalo moko ma Martin Luther.
Isejibora ka kod mbaka gi. So ineno one especially one jomo somo kias. One guy with an idea of European history, not the history. One guy idea. And that is enough. Gidoro no bed with not the real idea. Gidoro no bed with a cartoonish idea of the history. Mano yot dominate.
Correct.
So kataka is rango story ma Protestants. What were they protesting against? Tangoma nomio Protestants are spread. The printing press.
Printing press.
Okay, some high revolution. And the printing press. So my Bible then
People
need
could now
someone
read and understand for themselves.
more so at the beginning Ginok some understand because gigo negini Latin. So they did not understand. They really did not understand. Gimanemi gi pleasure. Gimano kelo radio. Majority of G ne haya ngato manyalo somo. Because somo was rare. Jomanongi somo was very rare. Even in the 1700s. Very rare. So negibet kanyo to osomo nigi these things. So en mano chal the first radio. Mane mo read ni koro ingeni wanyalo timo gini interest bedon okay wanyalo broadcast from somewhere instead of hire ng'ato achiel nyalo somo this thing from one place alafu wagine whatever winjo instead of everybody hire ng'ato, and especially serikali mane nigi this interest makata schooling no chako not for education. Schooling no chako because everybody was reading his own books. To government no luor nika ji ochako somo their own books to jogi bo somo their own books, meaning gibo ban the system.
Wrong in the sense ni gibro somo gik ma government ok dwar gisomo.
Yes. Koro gibiro with a curriculum and school mondo direct these people to where to read. So ntie buge mang'eny ma just by being left out of the classroom ibo ignore all of them. Kata ka gipuonji the reality of gima timre Kenya sani. Just being no onge classroom to onge test mibo timo on that book.
You forget about it.
Gisepuonji ignore it.
Ramoth, just for an example quickly, just on that point. You know, so very few people have read Oginga Odinga's book, Not Yet Uhuru. Very few people say so book no because in book mane serikal mane nitiere ok no yie. So it was thrown out completely. Very few people have read that book, Not Yet Uhuru.
George idon mondo simnwa network kabisa. Dimanyinwa Luo version.
Watch broadcast cha. Watch broadcast mar radio mane kod wach miwacho ni ji ne bedo hired mondo masomo. I did a lot of writing letters. Dana mamelea
Jotuoro. Jotuoro.
to koro barupe mindiko ma very interesting, very quick.
Jotuoro.
Koro mae to gin barupe mandiko ne dina, mandiko ne nyithindgi mane town. And en barua ma I've realized ni barupe go ne gin koda format kaka nichako gite. Kadana mamelea kadhi ndiko, kadala manyager kadhi ndiko, kadala ma Priscilla kadhi ndiko. Mago are homes ma around our home. Ma when ndiko barua no gibuk gidawa ni nyakwarango bio ndikna ne barua ne ng'ane. Ano kichake tichake kuom koro indiko kuom ka en Jackton, kuom Jackton, nyathina Jackton. Amosi kaparo ni ngima kosituo. All these letters used to start like that. Gegi Mariala.
George, yani you realize gini after how many? After 20 what years?
Mana ji ne bedo hired mondo som cha kapod ji ok ong'e somo. Nabedo ga hired mondo andik barupe, and I've realized that the format was the same.
Yes.
Kandiko ni uncle na ma Jackton, mano wuod Dana mamelea. Tachako ni kuom nyathina Jackton, amosi kageno ni ngima kosituo. That was the kadhi kanyager, kandiko ne Peter. It is the same. Amosi nyathina ma Peter. I was a broadcaster from.
No wonder George, no wonder ukihero AI. In mani in AI mokwongo. Ni duplicate letters kanyo moktugo.
I've realized that. So you have, okay, I'm saying that, but in a larger sense, I'm seeing what you are saying. People use, because people were one, they were not allowed to read. That's for a fact. We are not going to go into details. There are a number of issues where we can step on people's toes, especially the big churches. People are not allowed to read. But when the Protestants started protesting, led by Martin Luther King Jr., they spread. So these people started, Jomonge Somo started to read Kakewachenu. Then radio came in. Because radio now, you could broadcast to a larger audience. One person saying the one thing and the larger audience could hear it. But now I'm thinking you are just saying something that I participated in at a younger age, but in a very small scale. But if you magnify it, then it was the same thing. Because most of my grandmothers couldn't read or write, but they had got their sons who had already now migrated to towns. And by then, ne onge sim mawango sanini, ne onge whatever. It used to be a letter. Mindike kendo indike to wadhi post e Luhano kata Okwala, and it goes to koduogo kendo ibro luongi ne midhi some koduok barua. So I'm just looking at that and I'm magnifying that all over the world, and I'm like, okay, it worked that way. But that fact, I'm not making it up. That was the beginning of all those letters.
But mano bad. Angin was some a very small part of the Luo Girl. But this is the juicy part. It's
Romo,
slowly. Watch now.
ne nitiere this part mane wawacho about westernization of marriage, the marriage ceremonies, how they said what happens in the church is purely Western, and the ceremonies have become so expensive, and the requirements are a little bit, over what was there before then. Would you say something about that?
Nadi, that is the truth. Obedo expensive. And an industry. and an industry.
I'm just looking at it in a way that, okay,
Watch.
wadhi abed western na dakika ariyo. Like they say things moves with trends and iwacho ni gidhi gi kaka piny dhi. So basically in as much as nilikuwa nasema no, I still want that, not as much as I would still want to be, experience the old, the cultural way of marriage. But right now feels like it is the trend, it is the way to go, and somehow the traditional way, in the eyes of those who have adapted to the modern or the westernized side, seems a little bit, and I want to say quote unquote, hard because of the processes. And at a time when right now we have kind of shortcuts, I'm going to talk to her, and then if she agrees, we go to the Attorney General. I'm going to talk to her. When she agrees, we talk to the pastor, so that you don't involve so many people. That makes the procedure kind of tedious and too long, and requires too much patience. That's in the eyes of those who see it right now, who didn't, or those who we are not reading with, possibly who didn't see it back then when it was there and was valued for what it was. So I don't know if there's a way that the current society could be merged with the old or the original society, so that we get to embrace both without omitting some parts of the cultural and replacing it entirely with what we have right now.
Okay, could I understand the Gimani Penjo? I understand kitchen them. Okay, clear. No, the wedding, this is what we are already discussing. The wedding, when you know in the Luo context would take such a long time. Just the wedding process, not the marriage itself. Get marriage and kaka jogi bodak. And then only right now, the ceremony of wedding, the nyalo time in whichever way they choose, the evidence is now backed by the certificate. So the government matching for the place where the certificate is, and kama the jagam nenyalo chungi. The only issue with jagam ni katakuwa keto jagam in this situation kakana and machonja. But what if he dies before the divorce? Because he's the one who is keeping all the records. Get him done. So kata system no nentie its limits. Nkech nena technology at a particular time. But sani a better technology obiro kaka marriage certificate go certificate. To gima manyo en ni the evidence of this wanyalo secure it for more generations. Nikech jagamo ok onyal dak for 1,000 generations. And then the story nyalo bedo ka change according to ngama wacho and such like things. So okanene as in gima nyalo wacho wa merge the two. Nikech the wedding part manager gam timo and what was done in different ceremonies, wayudo a better way of doing it. Wayudo a more efficient way of doing it, which and make no sense to go for the efficient way. Nikech seche moko kwadhi with the nostalgic way to gino ok nyal tiyo. Watch an example en ananga wachoga nowuotho from Nyakachi nyaka Kisumu. Mano was the only way, but sani nitie gari, an efficient way osebiro to save time. Nikech inyalo dhi Nyakach twice in a day. Idhi biduog. So inyalo timo, in terms of shrinking time, otimo maber. And also, ineno in the nikech ji dak e city and this type of stuff, iyudo ni ji mang'eny gin together, but process mar dhi yudo the certificate kata ka gin ji ariyo is so much easier for the government. Makoro sani ok en for the certificate, and for secure the children. Most of the reason why gigi, emomiyo nachako with the story ma reading ni how the family was looked at as an institution for growing a particular type of children. Mano was the first thing manewarango. So koyudo a better way ma secure these children, kata through the certificate, angoa, the better. Ananeno the better. So nitie joma sani gi believe in the Christian side. Whichever way magibotime to secure those children and the resources necessary. To raise children is a resource heavy and a resource heavy endeavor. So it is kagitime kanisa nkech mano is not what determines kagibo dak karachiel. Kagibo celebrate this, ananeno is not the issue. Kagidwa time kanisa, kagidwa time traditional. Nkech kata kwa time traditional onge kata sheria ma Kenya oko gine, oko tamre. We can still do it. Antaneno is more choice kendo mano ber. Nkech jintie with more choice other than no force gi nyaka gitim how it was done traditionally. To realize ni kata the traditional systems no se chak lok gi kata jasemo onge. So abo be not imogino just from some fake memory, but wadwaro that position ma jagine mar time moro nowacho kama side track matin. Time moro nowacho an ka ng'ama yang' obiro kuoma kapenja wachno, ma gini nokelo wach chieng'no kowacho gino. Kodwa really go through this process kaka machon, odhi obed before chak marriage ni, odhi obed with a divorce lawyer mondo ng'e what happens there. Ng'e the different scenarios ma ng'ani oseneno. Koro donjo ka en sober, ong'eyo. Mano en pod position ma jasem. Nkech ok obi yudo gik marosi, nkech ma divorce lawyer, en no specialize in divorce, ok marriages. Koro bomi the millions of ways ma ji nyalo were. Kore kinyalo dhi neno pastor ma bong'isi about everything rosy kaka polo ber kukendre. But ineno pod ng'ani kotiyo with the framework ma paro cha. Onyalo chopo kuma en gi so much data. Ma kata chunye owinjo gik ma jomoko osekale to wacho no, okay, this is how wabo kalo through this. Aneno ni in such a situation, me the relationship legs ma even stronger. Most nkech wani time ma everything will lock industry. Everything. Mantie joma chamo sami kendri, nitie joma chami sama user. Mago jokondo ang'o mago te. Nitie jumorita any act motimo to giloso go gimoro. Ng'eyo. So nitie joma rito kukendre, nitie joma rito samu dhao, nitie joma rito samu divorce, nitie joma riti samu iseweri kode cha. So in gi more people getting interested in weru or having problems or challenges. There's so much money to be made. Some will go through this process. So kunyalo yudo the way ma seal nun karachiel. and soberly. Ok be matter which form. The challenge bo bedo bet karachiel. That is more there. Ok be matter ka nutimo ma traditional, kata ka nutimo ma Christian, kata ka nutimo ma Muslim. Mano ken kuma problem ti. Problem en koro joma dwa chamo ugi. Nikech koro josem koro gimedre. Nikech nitie mo, there is more money to be made in bedo jasem than in bedo jagam. Jagam nyalo gamo ng'ato once. But jasem onyalo duogo every time with new offers. Owacho omiyi solution, ogolo solutions. Mi example, samo udhao to ng'isi ni ng'en kudhi holiday karachiel, this thing will be sorted. And I have a cottage in Mombasa, and these are the prices. Yeah. So bedo nudhao support industry. So I don't know, is not the challenge. Team obey traditional one free choice. One free choice, one go options. Oh, what's coming? Free choice is the wrong one. One go options. Akiaka, Ami bedo confused no more.
Awinji maler.
Koso udidwa medo gimoro. Jatuoro. Jatuoro be nyaka wawinj go.
Mede gimoro. Kaja jatuoro kumede gimoro nikech ikele maler. Aspect mikelo mar a number of people are waiting for this relationship is quite and it's hidden that people don't think about it. Taparo ni mano message manego ji ago uog go kae. Sama couples are fighting over issues manyalo bedo sorted out. But remember what Ramoth said. I think I need to add on this one. Sama ungi issues, in gi jaodi kata in gi mama gi jaode kata jaod mzee gi jaode. Don't see yourself as the problem. The problem must be the third person. The moment one of you is a problem, that thing is done. The moment you feel the other person is the problem, then there's no remedy for that. The problem might be something that can be sorted between you. There must be you, mama, you, baba, and the problem. And so, sama ungi problems gi. Niti jo marito manan problems gi break you down. That makes the money. We are not going to mention the professions. That makes the money. Various places are waiting for that. When a divorce happens, there are people who makes money from divorce. When you are united, Utima Rus, there are people who make money. Caterers are making money. Some Utimo Gikmutimo Kamuter Wakamwadi Chame Micheleja. They are making money. So every place, the marriage has been commercialized in a way. So it's upon the two of you to decide which part you want to give more money than the other. That's given. One sunny 2026, we can't run away from such. There are people also in terms of counselors and all that. They're making money out of you guys, unless they offer to give it for free. So I think, Ramoth, that is a very, very important aspect of the current situation, one tier. We must not forget. And also, where you're giving birth to kids, schools borito, chulo school fees. They're making money. So the society is not looking at your children the way the Luo consciousness used to look at it. They were waiting for a person who can drive the community ahead, forward. That's why the seed needed to be pure seed. Pure seed. For now, doesn't matter where the child come from. And that is why one got these tags. Nyithi single mother, nyithi single fathers, kia nyithindo mobedo brought up gide, kiango. That is, the society doesn't look, your so-called society, quote unquote, right now, doesn't look at the children as the Luo society used to look for children. Before, and Ramoth said it, before the child is given birth to, the data must be right. The data that is going to bring the product out must be right. That is why virginity was very important. It was important in the sense ni idwaro ni raw data emobed used, not data mosebedo diluted with other softwares from elsewhere. So it's very important that we look at this thing that way. That even in marriage as we speak now, we say move from where it was in our cultural context. It has moved now to commercial side. Everybody wants to make money out of it. There is no more josem sani onge and jogam sani onge. Jagam ramo to wacho sani jagam en pesa. To pesa no bende. Nitie joma rite sama udonjo e marriage no pap. To nitie joma rito pesa no. Anywhere you go, you stay together, it will work. You separate, it will work. Whichever way. So the best is for you to decide which way will work a little better for you. But aparo ni Ramoth, ok ang'eyo ni nitie gimidwa medo, but kom kamano to aneno time wa, but it depends on what you think. Miwa ne direction ka. Aning'e an mana wuon le an host. GK.
Telo, Mos. Watch now.
Yeah.
Time, Gine. Time on you are, eh?
Hey, you are mommy.
Again. Mos no kawinjo, the last part we watch. Cultural champions, Kamano again for this time. Who spent Kodwa and the discussions team on this Luo is so interesting. It's so deep. It's okay, the levels more Ponji Paro is very interesting. Very interesting. It's very interesting. Ouda kosini nidwa na wach gimoro mos nikech ne en homa tira tisre.
No, aparo en mana kamichope no, aparo ni wanyalo gori ne jogi, but okiwe tijini biro loro, okiwe ne
Luo Girl.
Local concept mara motho gima dwa find out komi gimi penjo machieno and you are satisfied gi kaka obed explained, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because we've moved from the first concept, now we've moved to commercial concept ma tije tek sana. But koro wachane ka en gi wach last word and all that, nikech aparo ni kawuono we are not going to read more. But I want to point out the reading is not even what is important, but the discussion that comes after what has been read actually is what is very important. Nikech anymore or direct towards, and you see what Ramoth is reading also is giving a lot of directions, any answers of the questions that we have. The book is just a guide, and as I said, we probe it, we put it into a scale, and we churn out what we thought Uminde might have got wrongly based on that time and all that. But I think today we might have to end it there. We also don't want to push you too long in the night. Tomorrow people might be having more things to do in the morning. So thank you. But Luo Girl wachane wach mogi kind of. Then I go back to Rama.
Erokamano. Sorry. Just a remark waloro. Afani wachopo a bugni kama is now delving so deep into the realities of life as it is. at our age. Ochopo kama it's now touching us directly. What we are doing right now and how we are doing it. Let's leave how we grew up and how we did, all that. We are at a point, ma. I think the analysis is more important than the reading, manaka kisewacho. We take it, put it into perspective, compare and contrast. We check and balance a few things here and there, and it's becoming interesting. To those who have been listening to us today, you are amazing. You're good people. We really appreciate your time. And for Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage and Research and Education Center, I think I'm learning more about my society more than I used to know. A few new things here and there, a few expansions, and with the assistance of Ramos, I think we've taken a right direction. So for those who've been with us today, thank you so much. Ramos, thank you for your time. Thank you for the energy you put into this. And thank you for the research. You're doing it for us. Okay, you're doing it for me because I'm one of these low girls, and so somehow it touches me directly. So I really appreciate the energy and the effort. Otherwise, nyakaticha beach kendo.
Thank you, Luo Girl. It's amazing, Ramoth, because you'll finish it when I give it to you. Close it. It's amazing because the Luo Girl has just said something very important. And the other Friday, I had a young man who had come to Kenya, a Luo man who was born in Kenya, a Luo young man born in Kenya. Then the parents migrated to Europe when he was a teenager, and they came, but they were in Kenya for a holiday, the whole family, well, most of the family, and he got to get the discussions that Ramogi Cultural. First of all, he was intrigued by Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Research and Education. That intrigued him so much, and he got interested. And the reason why I'm saying this is because he mentioned the same thing the Luo Girl has mentioned. And he said that finally he gets to know his heritage. He gets to know his identity. Something he says he has been searching for while living in Europe. And he told me his own words, he was so sad because he once got into a library and there was a book he pulled out that was meant to speak about Africa. And the book depicted Africa as a people who didn't have a history at all. And then he listens to and goes deep into what Ramogi Cultural Institute is doing. And then he asked himself, why did I believe that rubbish? That's what he said. I'm saying that because he gave me I asked him if I can quote his words, and he gave me the go ahead, and he said he's proud of it, and so there's nothing to hide about it. Luo Girl is saying that as a person who is actually reading the Luo book, you've heard what she said. I'm giving these examples to let you guys, the Luo, the cultural champions who I listen to, us that this is the reason we do this. This is the reason Ramoth takes his time, goes to the depth of everything to fish for information about the Luo. He's done it. I can promise you. I know for a fact he's gone to the depth of the earth doing this. I'm hosting him because I want our culture not to just merely survive because we remember it. No. Through Ramoth, the culture will survive because he has decided, him and myself in our generation, to take the responsibility to understand the culture, interpret it correctly, and pass it forward to the Luo girl and to that young man who was in Kenya for holiday, a Kenyan who has been living in Europe for over 20 years, believing that Africa didn't have a history at all. Perhaps it's the spirit in which we continue our journey through the Luo girl. We are not doing it, not as judges of the past, but as custodians of a living heritage. Luo is a living heritage. I finish by what I had said before because it's so important to me and it came from my heart. We are reading a book in 2026, a book that was written in 1949, but the answers have come from the echoes of wisdom of our ancestors. Not guessed answers, not searched answers, but answers that were recorded, properly recorded down. And our ancestors knew very well that these answers will provide a generation with the compound and the compass in which to stamp the authority and move it forward. The story, the details that we read yesterday, the other day, I told you, it was not just by coincidence that a child was put into the story. Our elders knew, our ancestors knew that something will happen in 2026, that we will use this child as a stepping stone, as a teaching, as a lesson to the current parents. I finish by saying, because young people are in the bottom of my heart, that is what I do. I love young people. We love young people. Ramoth is not doing this to gain anything for himself because he's giving the information out. If he wanted to gain, he would keep it in. That is for him. The moment he gives the information out, is not for him. It's for the community. And that is the love for the community that is doing this, plus the researches that he does. Today he was away from where he lives, doing more research. So we're doing this for the love of our people, for the love of our young people. To parents who are listening to us tonight, I appeal to you. You are not wrong. Don't beat up yourself. Don't beat yourself down and say you have failed because your kid was brought back from school and there are accusations and counter accusations. You know what? You've been given a chance to start afresh. You have questions to ask yourself, how have I been doing it? If I've been going south, obviously south has a problem. I think north could be the way. You have a chance. Don't beat yourself down. You have a chance to start understanding your teenagers afresh. You have a chance to start befriending your teenagers afresh. You have a chance to put your teenager down and talk to them from your heart and tell them, maybe I've been getting it wrong. Possibly because also nobody explained it to me rightly. Even my parents didn't get it right. But I know that with the information I have now, you and I can get it right. There is no reason for you to end where some of the students might end. You have it, you know it, you've seen it. It's happening now in front of all our eyes. It's not a good result. So you have an opportunity to start afresh. Don't beat yourself down. I appeal to the parents. Maybe next week we will read the letter that I wrote to the parents at the end of my book, Raising Teenagers, Shaping a Generation. There's a letter I wrote to the parents. That is what finishes the book. It talks to the parents. You are doing your best. And you can make it. We have beautiful kids. They only need direction. That's all. And we must start from ourselves. GK, Lori,
Hello.
erokamano kuom thuoloni, erokamano kuom research mitimo, erokamano kuom pogonwa rieko ma jodongo keto kuomi tipogonwagi. Puonjwa maler Damoth, puonjwa maber. Wamako rieko kama ber kabisa. Jomatindo gi kaka an amor sana kendo chunya winjo maber ka we get such reports kuom kaka the Luo Girl, kaka kijana man ing'eyo, he was giving us. Now we used to read those things. So I'm a happy person because we are reaching out to the young people and they are seeing the essence of what we are doing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, cultural champion. Thank you, and thank you, Tramogi Cultural Institute. Rama, close it down.
Erokamano. Erokamano sana. Each time you are. So thank you for being here with us. You could have been anywhere, but you're here at the right place at the right time. We never take it for granted. Thank you to Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education for this opportunity to always come, talk, share what I have and the questions. I'm usually glad for the questions because at least you can really explain deeper more than just saying. You can explain deeper. People get to see the amazingness of Luo, the amazingness of how it comes together. That is what I enjoy out of this. It's so it's what is the word I'm looking for? The word. I will remember the word and I'll tell you next time. Sorry. There's a way you say it. I will remember that and I'll say it next time. So thank you so much for being with us, for having our backs, and for always being present. Thank you so much. And Jotuoro. Bochuno no abe umeda dhako from Jotuoro kanyo nikech winjo maber saidi to nyaka be again gimoro. But Ouda wuo kod DJ mondo medwa gimoro kanyo.
Very loyal. Mano ide tuorogo.
Okay. Okay. Erokamano telo.
Erokamano.